Oninaki, developed by Tokyo RPG Factory and published by Square Enix, is a game that's caught my eye on a number of occasions, most notably during Nintendo's Treehouse event at E3 earlier this year. Focusing on the themes of spirituality, death, and the afterlife, I was subtly reminded of other games that have attempted these themes, such as Level 5's upcoming, and formerly cancelled, Ushiro. Oninaki, however, instantly carves out a unique identity for itself through its unique visual style, combat, and narrative that tackles these deep themes with a level of grace and maturity that I was kind of pessimistically expecting to be lacking. Oninaki follows our protagonist, Kagachi, as he commits to his role as a watcher, a sort of spiritual warrior guide that investigates the beyond, the spiritual world that overlaps the world of the living, in an effort to assist lost souls with travelling to the afterlife to commence reincarnation. There's a catch, however. Reincarnated beings don't retain any of their past lives' personality, memories, experiences, or existences, and souls that are holding on to a sort of anchor in the world of the living, such as regret, guilt, or grief, are bound endlessly to the beyond, until a watcher helps them unload their spiritual baggage. This also works both ways, with not only the deceased being affected by these limitations, but the living that played a role in their life as well. If your parents die and you grieve over their deaths, they aren't going to find peace. It's horrible, and unfortunately, that's on you, buddy. It's a harsh world that sets itself up extremely well in the game's opening chapter, with you finding a young dead boy's spirit being anchored to the beyond by his grieving parents, albeit unwillingly. They decide that, ultimately, because of their feelings and their guilt, that they're just bringing more grief to their son, and out of that guilt, decide together that they should die at the hands of the Watchers to join their son and progress to the afterlife together, to reincarnate. It's a shocking opening that only gets darker as you play more, with themes of suicide, cultism, religion, monarchy, and also challenges the notions of which way is an acceptable way to die. Is murder or assisted death or suicide acceptable if it's for a greater purpose or for your own personal satisfaction and ease of mind knowing that you're going to be reincarnated as a better person? It stimulates your brain and really makes you think about some very pressing topics, which is very unlike a Japanese RPG, especially one from, say, Tokyo RPG Factory, who previously worked on I Am Setsuna and Lost Sphere, to really go hard into these topics, and it's quite interesting to see. This world and its setup also provides a lot of context to the characters and their motivations, and also their personalities. Kagachi is a cold and blunt person, almost edgy in a way, cutting to the chase when it comes to dealing with lost spirits, much to his disadvantage at times, yet it's justified with his history and experiences with death and with the deceased. The gameplay contained within Oninaki is also just as compelling as its world, acting similar to a top-down hack-and-slash, just without meaningful combos. The best comparison I can make is to titles like Bastion or Transistor, just with a bit of additional RPG mechanics from something like Xenoblade Chronicles 2. You have your own base combos tied to weapons, however all of your weaponry and abilities are tied to a set of up to 4 equipable demons, spirits that entered a state of petrification when passing, that resulted in them losing all of their memories. By unlocking these memories via their skill trees, you gain access to bigger and better abilities, ranging from laser beam attacks to a Zantetsuken style katana slash. It's fun to try out new abilities and to see how they stack up against your enemies. However, the game does fall short on 2 major hallmarks. When you boil Oninaki's combat down to its fundamentals, you quickly notice that the game has a severe lack of enemy diversity, and incentivizes you to use between 1 and 4 demons throughout your entire playthrough. Shadowy chicken-looking creatures, bombing scorpions, projectile-firing butterflies, and larger golem-like creatures make up about 35% of the whole game's roster of enemies, meaning that despite featuring over 50 unique skills, you'll only use a set few as certain enemies are weak to certain abilities. For instance, you gain a powerful demon near the start of the first chapter named Zarf, who uses a spear to deal long-range damage. Upgrading him, however, allows you to not only gain huge iframes with skills like Meteor, but also to attack most enemies repeatedly at a range by throwing your spear or drilling into enemies. Other demons didn't quite win this lottery, however, with ranged characters like D, a demon that you obtain in the second chapter, beginning near useless, with a very awkward lock-on system that you need to unlock. Generally, the first few melee demons you get will clear the whole game's content for you, and it's a bit odd coming off of games like Xenoblade Chronicles 2, where nearly every blade was acceptable to get you through the game's content, and it's a bit of a shame because there are some wonderful designs here. Ultimately, and unfortunately, the lack of enemy diversity leaves you with a desire for more that won't be fulfilled. It's not like games with a similar issue such as The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, because the combat and world isn't diverse enough to excuse the limited encounter types. You're always facing enemies on flat plains with zero environmental impact, meaning you end up with around 12 different enemy types with around 3 different attacks, with easy baiting methods. It gets old very quick. It's a shame, as Oninaki's combat is something interesting. It's got truckloads of potential, especially for harder difficulty modes like a one-hit KO or New Game Plus mode, but it just doesn't capitalise on any of this. It could offer some extremely compelling boss fights and counters, but it just doesn't. Visually, Oninaki is supremely strong, with many of the character art pieces looking fantastic. However, I do have to raise that a few of the designs in the game do share some extreme similarities to other JRPG characters or designs. I mean, just compare Zaf and Izanagi no Okami from Persona 4 for example. Aside from that, the world is beautiful, the models look great, and the music and sound design is top tier. Just the main core of the game is what lets this whole package down. Overall, Oninaki is a brilliant concept with fascinating lessons and themes to teach, challenging in a unique and stimulating way, with a clear, understanded visual style that would look perfect along Square Enix's other visual masterpieces, such as Octopath Traveler. However, amongst all of this flair and surrounding excellence comes a core that is ultimately not fully realised. The game's narrative and combat soon drops off of the initial wonder and joy, and the latter half of the game becomes a bit of a chore to progress through, and it's such a shame, as Oninaki really did have the potential to become something akin to a modern Secrets of Mana. I love everything about Oninaki, apart from the very thing that makes Oninaki a game. As a game, it falls just above Tokyo RPG Factory's other titles, I Am Setsuna and Lost Sphere, in terms of quality, production, and enjoyment. Given everything that I've mentioned in this video, I award Oninaki with a 7 out of 10.